from the BBC World Service in association with ABC and All India Radio. This is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in Perth, Western Australia, sitting behind the glass pane of the front of the commentary box in Perth Stadium, an enormous circular 60,000-seater stadium, venue for what is the first day-night test held at this venue, but the first of a tantalising three-match series against New Zealand. And alongside me from ABC is Jim Maxwell. Hello, Jim.
Ali, hello. And it's nice and cool here. It wasn't for the players on the opening day of the test with temperatures pushing 40 degrees. But the one positive thing you can say about day-night test cricket for the first time in Perth is that the temperature dropped to a very comfortable, comparatively, 30 degrees in the final session. And the pink ball swung about the place. So, yeah, things looking good for the progress of this test match with around 20,000 people turning up to watch the first day.
So this is us in Perth, and over in India.
I'm Sunil Gupta for All India Radio in Delhi, and I'm enjoying the Perth test, and from this vantage point, enjoying with interest the spectacle of the fielding team turn redder and redder, very lobster-like in that sun, in that heat. I noticed that particularly. And let me tell you where I'm going. Earlier in the new year, my two daughters are going to be here, one from the US, one from Singapore, and we're off to a cold, cold place called Manali up in the hills, where at night it's -9 and in the day it's only +4. So,
well, make sure you wrap up warm, Sunil. I tell you what, here we've only been looking for ways to cool off in this heat, but one man who is red hot at the moment with a cricket bat in his hand is this person.
And be a bit careful coming forward, I suppose, as Sander has him coming forward, and he whacks it over the top, down to the boundary. That's his 100. It's a 6. He's brought up his 100 with a 6 to join a club of those who have scored 3 centuries in a row. And Labuschagne is very excited about what he has done. 300s in 3 consecutive tests in Australia. And Marnus Labuschagne is 101. And what a way, a stylish way to bring up your 100, as a number of great players have done before, with a 6.
Amazing. Marnus Labuschagne, who was with us on Stumped last week, and he has now scored his 3rd consecutive century in as many innings, Jim, as you called it there. And to bring it up with a 6, I mean, a remarkably mature innings, I thought, but that was just a sign of immense confidence. He danced down the track to Mitchell Santner to deposit him over the rope.
Well, if you think that he had not done anything like that until that very moment, maybe he had a little look over his shoulder at the scoreboard. He knew what number he was on, and he thought, if he does toss one up, I'm going for it. But there was never any hint of a loss of control at any point in this innings today. The one moment where he may have come unstuck was actually at the end of the day, when they had some funky fields for Wagner, which managed to get rid of Smith earlier. And then in the last over, they had a fly third man, deep first slip, and Wagner bounced Labuschagne, who lifted it over the slips, one bounce to Taylor. Now, that was probably as close to the only blemish, if you could call it that, in the whole day. There was so much control and concentration in his performance. So you can only admire what he's achieved in such a short period of time since that game at Lord's. But Justin Langer obviously knew there was something about this fella that none of the rest of us could see at the time. And he just grows better and better and better.
Sunil, let's switch to some of the cricket that has been going on, with India beating the West Indies 2-1 in their T20 series. And that looked like quite a six-fest, especially in the final match in Mumbai. What are people talking about the most out of that one?
Well, obviously, I mean, it was, 3 top men, Rahul, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, especially his 70-odd of just 29 deliveries, 7 sixes. He's never hit so many in an innings before. But I think the main debate really was this whole thing about India not being able to defend targets. In the recent past, India's won only 3 and lost 7 of the times that they batted first. And I think that is going to be one of the big things they've got to look at when the T20 World Cup comes up next year in Australia. And I think one of the main reasons for that is that, quite honestly, they don't know how to set the tempo. And if you're only having people playing fairly orthodox cricket, and those top three fail, I mean, remember what happened in the World Cup semi-final against New Zealand, when the top three failed, the middle order didn't come to the party, even though we're just chasing 240 odd. So I think that is one big concern. We've talked about it before. And the fact that India, really the home of T20s, hasn't won a World Cup since 2007, the very first one. So we're 12 years down the line, going to 13 next year. I think that's one of the concerns. To my mind, and I've said this before, we don't have enough, I think, unorthodox players or people who can improvise enough. I don't remember one reverse sweep being played in all the games that were played, these three T20s. And there's just one attempt at a scoop in which Rohit Sharma was bowled by Jason Holder. That was the end of that. So I think there are 2 points. One is how you start an innings, and Mumbai showed that you can really do that, in high tempo. And secondly, how you end. In the game that we lost in Thiruvananthapuram, only 77 runs were scored in the last 10 overs. And you cannot win T20 games if you're doing that type of thing. So India has some problems to look at, and I'm sure that they're being addressed.
From the BBC World Service, this is Stumped on All India Radio.
Now, Pakistan's decade-long wait for a test match on home soil is finally over. The country hasn't hosted a match in the 5-day form since the fatal attack on the Sri Lanka team bus in Lahore in 2009. But after pretty strenuous diplomatic efforts and a number of incident-free matches in the shorter formats, Sri Lanka returned to play a test this week in Rawalpindi. Here's what some of the locals had to say in the build-up to the match.
Everyone is so excited. We were discussing that we should go and watch match, and it's good entertainment in Pakistan after a long time. There's a little more problem to the traffic and all that, but that shows the excitement and the extra enthusiasm of Pakistanis about cricket.
It's very a happy moment for every Pakistani. I want to welcome every team, every international team to come and play here, because Pakistan is very safest country nowadays, and they will enjoy here.
Yeah, it's a very positive development. It isn't just that the cricket is coming back home. It's a sign that basically the security situation has improved in our country, and that has allowed the international players to come home and play here in Pakistan. There's something which was being missed from last more than a decade.
So that's some of the locals, but of course visitors have been attracted to Pakistan for this as well. And Ataf Nawaz is a British Pakistani and a lifelong Pakistan fan. So it was with no small sense of anticipation that he took his place among thousands of ecstatic supporters for the opening day's play in Rawalpindi.
So as I sit here today at the Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium and I see all the cheering fans and all the people that are here celebrating the return of Pakistani cricket, Test cricket to Pakistan, people waving their flags, people making noise, air horns, everything. Everybody's feeling celebration. I'm feeling relief. Relief that everything has gone well, relief that we're getting a strong performance from both teams. There's a good match in progress. And there's a good, huge crowd here to watch the first day as well. All of it is a massive sense of relief for me. The very first ball had a special feel to it. The crowd were building at the time. It wasn't a huge crowd when play started. When that first ball was bowled, there were maybe a tenth of the amount of people that are in the ground right now, because of security. It takes them a long time to get into the ground. But there was an amazing feeling, an amazing vibe around the stadium. It was just a sense of anticipation unlike anything else. It reminded me of like the 1999 Cricket World Cup. The anticipation you would have when Shoaib Akhtar, who incidentally is also from Rawalpindi, when he would run into bowl, it felt like a box office occasion. It felt like something very, very special was about to happen. And it was that same sense of anticipation when Mohammad Abbas came onto bowl. And you can hear the crowd now. You can hear them in the background. That is passion. You know, I've had a few nice surprises on this trip already. Like I got to speak to Mickey Arthur. I've admired his work for more than a decade. Mohammad Abbas, one of my favorite bowlers. You know, I've talked to some awesome people, but right now I've been told that in a few moments I'm going to get to speak to one of the greatest batsmen in the history of the sport. Certainly one of the greatest Pakistani batsmen of all time, Javed Miandad, who is here today to support the game. He's going to be honoured shortly, and then I'm going to get a chance to speak to him. I am beyond excited about that. Javed Saab, it's so nice to speak to you. It's so nice to see you here amidst this amazing crowd in Rawalpindi. It must feel amazing for you to see international Test cricket back in Pakistan. How are you feeling right now?
Obviously, you can understand it's a great thing. And obviously, people have been waiting for a long time, and they all are happy because this country is cricket lovers, sports lovers, and like other countries. I think more than that. But we were struggle, for a long time. That's why, we didn't produce the good players because we have been playing all the time. Nobody is coming. When team tour to any country, the other people, other everyone, they learn how to play, how to do it. Right? So we struggle. Thanks God, at least something is started, and I'm sure we need you people to promote Pakistan. Okay, you can see there is no problem, nothing else. Once government give you the surety, I think everybody must come.
That was amazing. Just the genuine passion that Javed Miandad has for the game. For the fact that he was so passionate about cricket being back in Pakistan. He went and met the fans individually. I had to watch him shake everybody's hand in that stand. They were all so excited to see him. This is what we need. This is exactly what we need. Is more of these players that build these legendary careers that fans are eager to see, and that draws them in to the sport. And we get more legends and more players and more reasons to watch this great sport that we love so much. Wow, it's been a whirlwind of a day, really. It's had a bit of everything. Slightly attritional in the play that actually occurred, but it was back and forth, which is always nice to see in a test match. I mean, we wanted test cricket back in Pakistan. We've got a very test cricket kind of day, with the sessions being dominated by different teams, right? Sri Lanka dominate the first session, Pakistan make a very strong comeback in the second session, and we get a bit of bad light in the third session. So you really had a pick and mix of all of the conditions. It's beautiful here right now, I've got to tell you. The ambience of this place is incredible. You can hear the adhan, the call to prayer in the background as well. They kind of echo for a long time because different mosques do them at different times. The lights are on here at the stadium as well, the floodlights, and they're illuminating this beautiful ground. And we've been seeing it in the daytime mostly. We've not had a chance to see it under lights before. It looks absolutely exquisite, and I sincerely hope and pray that other cricket fans from around the world get a chance to come to the Pindi Cricket Stadium and watch something, because it's exquisite.
Well, that was Ataf Nawaz reporting from the Rawalpindi Stadium, highly evocative at the end there. And he was talking about the sun setting. The lights have gone out on us on the Perth Stadium here, and they had very much a test match day, which was good to hear, really. They wanted test cricket back, and they absolutely got it. But it stirred memories with me, Jim, of being in Pakistan. I was with the England men's test tour in 2005, which is the last time England played there. And yeah, I recall the most vividly the sound of the azan and the call to prayer. And then as the sun set with the hazy evening light, the minarets of the mosques being silhouetted against these orange sunset skies. But that was a wonderful report, particularly the noise in the background. That is the passion of the Pakistan fans, isn't it?
Yes, I remember last time Australia was there was 1998 when Mark Taylor made 334 and declared. And on Friday, there was the call to prayer, and the whole crowd left the ground. And on Fridays, they have an hour for lunch so they can all go to the mosque and do what they need to do. But it was an extraordinary sight with all these spectators in their shalwar kameezes just going out of the ground on cue, as if they were heading off to Jeddah or somewhere else. But they came back later in the day. But those aspects of the culture are fascinating to observe, and the passion, as we heard there, for the Pakistanis. So it's wonderful that they've got cricket back, and hopefully it can be sustained.
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I mean, there's nothing like sport to bring people together, to bring people back to normalcy. It's not been easy for them, I'm very certain. And they miss cricket. They miss, as I think everybody said, including Atif Nazaz, who said that Test cricket is different from the slam bang variety of the T20s and stuff that one has been seeing. But I saw a little bit of it on television as well. And certainly, it is so subcontinental in terms of the noise that you heard, all those little bugles and stuff like that was going on in the background. So it's really good to see international cricket back in a big way. And certainly one hopes for the Pakistani people and for the subcontinent that this continues and grows in years to come. Actually, there were two English umpires, right, in this test match, Michael Gough and Richard Kettleborough. So somehow the internationals are returning to Pakistan.
Exactly. And the more international names who visit Pakistan, they will take their stories back home to their own cricket boards. And you hope that it grows from there.
From the BBC World Service, this is Stumped on All India Radio.
Sunil, finally, I heard that there was a bit of an unwanted visitor to a cricket field in India this week. Tell me about this one. I gathered it was something of a venomous delivery.
It was indeed. It was very unexpected. Obviously, there was something to do with the pitch because they were beginning a Ranji Trophy game in Vijayawada, which is down south, and a snake wriggled onto the field and stopped play, and everybody looked quite puzzled because they didn't really quite know what to do with it. Then, of course, it was taken away. But we've heard about bee swarms, you heard about dogs and cats coming on, and sometimes seagulls in Australia or whatever. But a snake, well, that's India for you, land of snake charmers.
Yeah, there's a few in Australia as well, Jim. I was at Cape Naturaliste, which is a few hours south of Perth the other day. I'm just showing Jim a photograph here on my phone, which is me leaping out of the way at alarm. Well, putting it on a little bit, but a big sign saying, warning, snakes are venomous in this area. And that was just a couple of hours away from here. One more question for you, Sunil, about that snake. Was he fielding an extra cobra?
That was a good one. That was a good one. Well, I thought long and hard about this, and I said, well, first the umpires objected to having 12 fielders on the field, right? And the captain decided he didn't want 2 extra cobras anyway at the beginning of the game. The snake wanted to slip away in any case as well. But there was a backstop, and the physio decided to take him off the park, and so he retired gracefully to the pavilion.
Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's Stumped on All India Radio. You can have your say on Twitter. We're at BBCWS Sport. And you can use the hashtag BBC Stumped. My thanks to Sunil, Gupta and Jim Maxwell. And to you for listening. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Stumped is a BBC sport production for the BBC World Service in association with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation and All India Radio.